Welcome to another episode of After the Poll, the video series where I talk about all of the comic books I read for the current comic book week, except those new number ones. If you want to check out that video, I'll leave you that video at the end. I'm Mike Spider Slayer. Welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0, the comic book channel where I discuss everything and anything comics that hopefully helps you make decisions on what comic books to buy. And if you like that, guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also, check out MutantBeaverComics.com. They have over 4,000 variant covers in their store. I have a link in my description box below. They have gorgeous variant covers. Guys, check out Mutant Beaver Comics. All right, guys, so with that being said and all the other stuff out of the way, let's get started with this week's episode. Deadly Hands of Kung Fu. This is Gang War issue number 2. This book is 28 pages for $5. Here we have the writer, who's Craig Pack, and we have Keo Mahado is the artist in here. The artwork is actually okay. I like the characters' facial expressions. There's some cool fight scenes in here. We do get to see like Mr. Negative and stuff, and we get to see Spider-Man. And so it's not a bad book, but it's definitely not the greatest book in my opinion. And I think you have to actually be a fan of Shang-Chi in this, event to really appreciate what's going on in this comic book. We get to see Shang-Chi obviously try to defend his territory. Spider-Man does a quick team up in this comic as well. Can Shang-Chi wind up getting his, 10 rings back as well? It's a pretty decent book, but it's nothing that like blew me out of the water. And this is also something that you can pretty much, you'll forget about it in like 2 weeks. There's nothing here that really attaches me to the story going, man, I can't wait for another Shang-Chi comic book. But it's fine for a tie-in comic. So if I had to grade this book, I'm going to give this one a C-. It's fine, it's alright, but just nothing memorable. I've definitely seen and read things better than this. Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099, this is issue 5. This wraps up this whole mini-series that's been introducing a bunch of new 2099 characters. Really hasn't featured any growth on the Spider-Man 2099 character, and I don't know if that's the purpose here. My favorite issue personally was issue number 1, as we got introduced to Miguel O'Hara's mom, and I felt like that gave the character more, fleshed out the character more, right? This book is 28 pages, $4. This book is written by Steve Orlando. The art is done by Stefano Raffio, I think his name is. The use of colors here was actually really good. I enjoyed that. We get introduced to this Man-Thing character, the first appearance of this version, and he was a former employee of the company known as Pixlr, right? They looked at him as a weak spot in the company. They did bad things to him, and now he's out to get revenge, and he does get his revenge, and his name is Canman Gray as Man-Thing 2099. Pretty interesting comic book. I actually like this one. This one was my second favorite out of the 5, being the first was my favorite because it fleshed out the Miguel O'Hara comic book by introducing his mother in the world. So even though this was my second favorite, it still didn't reinvent the comic wheel. It was just a fun read learning about this new character that hopefully introduces a pretty cool comic series in the summertime of 2024 because we're getting introduced to this. So, I don't know, man. I'll keep my fingers crossed. I'll check it out when that comes. At the end of the day, this one's going to be a C. I mean, it's good. It's average, it's readable, it's fine for what it is. It's been better than last year's series, that's all I can say there, but I like the Man-Thing character. Carnage issue 3, legacy numbering 33. This is 32 pages. This is a $5 comic book. This book is written by Torun Gronbeck, and the art is done by Pierre Perez. The art in this book is good. And at times, it's just very gruesome. Like, look at the way Carnage looks in this comic, dude. It's just so intense and grotesque and nasty and violent. And you're just like, oh my gosh, right? And then there's one scene where we get to see, like, the reborn Cletus defeat the old Cletus by like ripping his head out and just like eating his brain, like, so you get so Carnage is fully back to like full Carnage again. So like I'm a little bit lost when it comes to that stuff. I'm like, okay, so like we had Cletus like reborn himself from like his own DNA that was in the symbiote, right? But you still had the old Cletus alive. I'm a little confused on that. And then to get himself fully back, he ate his brain. So it's just weird. I didn't know the old one was still alive. So I think that's what throws me for a loop. And the other thing in this comic is you wind up getting like Flash Thompson, who's being framed almost for some of all these murders that's going on. And he's like trying to, you know, clear his innocence and whatnot. And he's talking with Liz Allen to try to help him. And, you know, she's caught between a rock and a hard place in this whole comic book. And yeah, and then at the end of it, you wind up seeing them come like face to face with each other, which I thought was kind of cool because that's finally where we're getting at when it comes to this comic, right? I mean, it's crazy, dude. And I think this whole thing is going to lead into the Carnage Venom crossover where those two are going to battle each other. So even though like the story is not like perfect, it's still an entertaining read. It's very gory, and maybe if I can understand things a little bit more of what's happened to Cletus in the past years, because it does get convoluted, I would grade this book a little bit better, but visually it's absolutely stunning. So I'm gonna give this one a C+. I'm curious to see where it goes from here, man. Spine-Tingling Spider-Man issue 4, the conclusion to this series. Now, this claimed to be the most scariest, you know, Marvel comic we have ever read, and I can say that even though it's creepy, I wouldn't say it's very scary. However, the artwork in this book is really, really well done. 28 pages for $4. The writer of this is Saladin Ahmed. The art was done by Juan Ferreira. The art is good in the comic book. Like, I love the layouts. I love how Spider-Man has this, like, creepy tone to him, right? We wind up getting to see the Jackal in this comic book, who looks creepy and who is behind everything that's been going on in this comic book, which, you know, surprise, surprise. And Spider-Man actually didn't really go on this crazy adventure or anything like this. He was really in this laboratory, in this simulation chamber, and everything that he experienced was right in basically a room. And again, the Jackal behind it all. A very menacing villain in this comic book, which I really liked, and he really manipulated Spider-Man into pushing himself over the edge to do things that he normally wouldn't do. So pretty cool concept for a story, something definitely different. I liked it. It wrapped up the way it should, and yeah, that's that. I liked the book. I thought it was, you know, a little bit better than expected, and I think at the end of the day, I'm gonna give this one a B-. Even though it wasn't scary, it was creepy, and I enjoyed the ride. So if you like horror comics and you like Spider-Man, you might want to mix the two together and see what you have. So when the trade comes out, go ahead and read it. The Incredible Hulk, this is issue 8. This is the conclusion to the whole World War II Ghost Rider storyline in this comic. This is legacy numbering 789, 28 pages for this comic, $4. The writer here in this comic is Philip Kennedy Johnson. The artwork is done by Nick Klein. Matt Wilson does the colors in the comic. This comic is awesome, man. I mean, it just really is. When you get to see the fighting scenes and the battle scenes and just the way all the characters are drawn, this is just, you know, a comic book at its finest. It's like why you read comic books, right? You get to see this big demon arise out of Hulk that was taking him over, and him and World War II Ghost Rider took on this thing, and they fought him, and they destroyed him, and they win, and they save the day. I mean, it's just all out in your face. But what was my issue with it? My issue with it, and it's just coming now to the point where we're on 8 issues of this story, and we really haven't gotten a lot of story progression. We've gotten to see Charlie and Bruce go on this adventure together. They're trying to get to this elder woman, this king of monsters, and we don't know that much about anything. They're just going on these adventures, which is fine, but I want a little bit more story progression, more in-depth story. Show me more about Charlie. Why is she there? Is she just a sidekick? Like, give me something a little bit more that I can sink my teeth into. I'm not going to drop this anytime soon, but I'm just looking for a little bit more. This book is a B- for me this time. You know, only, you can have artwork and action, but that can only take it so far to where the grade starts to dip just a little bit. Dark Ride, this is issue 10. This is a 24-page comic for $4, written by Joshua Williamson. Andrea Bresson does the artwork. Unfortunately, I don't have this comic book in physical form with me because my shop didn't have it and I had to read it digitally, but it's still a really solid comic. One of the problems that it has with it, though, is that it doesn't come out on a monthly basis, maybe because Joshua Williamson has so much other stuff going on right now that he's fallen a little bit behind on this book. But when you get this book in your hands, you're like, oh, I remember what happens now. Great story here as we get pretty much, I guess, the story of why this park exists to begin with. We have the father and we have two siblings. The mother passed away. The father wound up, making this park. He sold his soul to the devil to become successful, and every so often he has to give up souls, and the souls that he has to give up is either love or passion. And we wind up seeing that explanation between the sister and the brother. The sister very much involved in everything that's going on. The brother is very much just left in the dark with everything. His daughter is missing. We wind up seeing the security guard of the park go with the brother of the park looking for his daughter in this ride that we were introduced in the beginning of the series. And let's just say dark shit happens in there, and it is gruesome, I mean, oh my god, this shit's good. It's really, really good. I've always enjoyed this comic. Again, there's two things. It's too short. It's only 24 pages and it takes forever to come out, but it's a good story and I've really enjoyed it. I'm going to give this one a solid B because there was a lot of little downtime in here, and if you've read this series all the way through, you understand what's been going on this whole time through. It's just like a re-explanation of everything, but the ending was a great payoff. Spider-Boy issue 3. This is a 32-page comic for $5. We have this book written by Dan Slott. The art here is done by Paco Mandino, which is really nice. It's a visual treat in my opinion. I feel like this book is made for the young and the young at heart. I love the way all the characters look in this comic book, and this story just flows very nicely. I mean, it's like a point A to point B type of story. We get to see Spider-Boy go on another adventure, and if you wound up reading the last issue of this, we wound up seeing the Taskmaster trying to get the super adaptoid himself and bring it back to this character by the name of, what is his name, Killionaire or something else? Yeah. And he wants to make a super adaptoid so he can have all his followers, like on YouTube or TikTok or whatever it is, watch him, take over the city and stuff like that. But what happened is that Taskmaster only wound up coming across a hand. And this guy was such an asshole, like he wanted to take on, Taskmaster himself. But the hand wound up finding to be a very useful resource, and they created an action figure adaptoid. So it's just a mini version of the super adaptoid, like causing mayhem across the city. And we get to see Spider-Boy go on his adventure and try to stop this super adaptoid action figure. Pretty cool. Here's the scale of the action figure so you can see. So pretty cool premise of the comic, and you gotta like the end of it by the time it's all done. I like this book, man. I think it's a lot of fun. And again, it's a great comic to introduce to a younger audience. So at the end of the day, this book is a solid B for me. I'm gonna keep reading it and to see what other adventures that Spider-Boy has to offer. Titans Beast World, this is issue 6. This is the conclusion to Tom Taylor's event. This book is written by Lucas Mayer. This is a 48-page comic for $6. And overall, I thought this event was really good. We've had the Titans in here. You got Amanda Waller. You got Peacekeeper. Obviously, if you've been reading this series, you've known what happened to Beast Boy, as he did perish as a copy of Starro based off of the events that happened in the first issue. And now we have like Beast Boy's spores all over the place, and Amanda Waller wants to destroy all this human life. And the Titans are here trying to convince the president, going, hey, we have a plan in place. We know what to do. And we get to see our heroes in a desperate situation, and they wind up coming up on top. And the cool thing that made this comic pretty awesome was just the gathering of like all the spores from Beast Boy or Starro Beast Boy and reforming himself again and making him into Beast Boy again. I thought that was a really cool moment in this comic. We get to see a battle between Evil Raven and Good Raven, and you get to see the outcome of that. And then you wind up getting to see Amanda Waller doing her Amanda Waller like tricks, and she's obviously pitting the heroes against everyday life, saying the Titans are bad, superheroes are bad, and we need to stop them. And she just basically is standing in front of the Hall of Justice and now calls it, I think, the Hall of Order or something like that. What a bitch, dude. I can't stand her, right? But overall, this was a great book in my opinion. And I thought overall this one was an A. And overall for a series, this was an A as well. The ending might be a little bit, I say, too convenient for maybe some people that read this and may not like the whole Evil Raven situation that was going on in here, but overall, a fun event.
Welcome to Slaughterfest 24.
Well, I should say Wolverine issue 42. Oh my gosh, this book is insane, let me tell you. Legacy numbering 384, 32 pages, $5. The writing here is done by Benjamin Percy. Artwork is done by what's his name, Corey Smith in this comic. I mean, it's awesome in here. I mean, it's insane. Right from the start, there's just like fighting, there's battling, there's all these freaking Sabretooths just destroying all of all of Logan's closest friends. It's just an insane comic where Sabretooth has gone to different Earths and just basically wants to get revenge on Wolverine and everyone that's close to him. And this is taking place in the North Pole, just outside of the X-Force headquarters. So in this comic, you wind up seeing all those Sabretooths trying to make their way to that particular fortress and take on all those different characters. So let's see if I can show you the base that they're in. But you got people like Domino and Laura in here, and it's a slaughterfest right from the start. And we wind up seeing Wolverine gets like hung up by Omega Red's like arms and stuff like that, and he has to like cut himself out, and he's walking on his stumps and knees and everything else. Oh my gosh, dude, this is so crazy, so out there. This is such a recommend. I'm gonna give this book an A as well. I mean, it's just fun, right? I mean, that's why you want to read a Wolverine comic, for all that crazy fighting and battling in itself. Where does the story go from here? I don't know, but I guess time will tell. Avengers Twilight, this is issue 2. Loved issue 1 of a depowered Captain America living in a world that it's not quite what it seems, right? And we wind up seeing him get recruited by Luke Cage, who has an underground resistance by the name of the Defenders. We wind up getting to see like Matt Murdock get murdered in the first issue, and there's just all these things that going on. So to regain, the world or Earth or the city or whatever the case may be, Captain America gets that super soldier serum once again, right? And now their plans are in place. They try to go in the closed circuit TV where they try to interrupt the broadcast systems that are going on, and Captain America going live and sitting there and saying, you know what, these guys are bad, you need to follow me, I'm Captain America. And like the world like totally doesn't listen to him. It's just like totally insane. The artwork in here is done by was it David Acuna? It's absolutely awesome. And we get some very, like, cool, touching moments because we get to see Captain America try to, recruit different heroes. And the major player in this comic is a much older Kamala Khan. You want to say that, what is she, in her, like, 40s at this point in this comic book? And Kamala's like, no, based off of what happened in, I think they call it H-Day or whatever it is, I'm not joining you. I just want to live my life. I got kids and stuff like that. It's just an overall, just a great comic of trying to see these heroes come up on top again. And you also see more of, Tony Stark's kid, playing with the tech that his dad created, using his brain and stuff like that. Just an overall great series. And you also get, hints of Ultron in this comic. Man, this book is great. I love this one. This is an A as well. I can't wait to see where this series goes. And I tell you, in the beginning of the comic week, it looked bleak for all these new #1 issues. But when it comes to, like, the normal series, I mean, all these books are so good right now that I'm talking about. I'm so excited to talk about them. Duke, issue 2. This is 32 pages for $4. This comic is freaking sick, dude. Joshua Williamson, Tom Riley does the artwork. Jordi Belair is the colorist in here, and I think she does a great job at, meshing the colors together with the characters. There's some great facial expressions in here. Let's go, early into the book here where we get to see Clutch in this comic, who is trying to help out Duke because, he got severely injured in the last issue, and, Duke winds up meeting him for the first time, and he's like, whoa, Duke, and you see that facial expression? And then he has this girl that's spending the night here, and he's like, hey, Duke, I want you to meet, and the girl just, like, runs off. Dude, it's hysterical. So you get some real comical moments in this book as well. And you find out that Duke has now a mission to go on, right? But in the meantime, we wind up getting to see other G.I. Joes going after Duke because of the stuff that he's, the stuff that he's doing. And we wind up getting introduced to a few new characters in here. So we get introduced to Rock and Roll. You wind up getting introduced to Stalker. And then, this is a spoiler, just letting you know, you wind up getting to see an early appearance of the Baroness. Now, obviously, she's not part of Cobra at this point, and it doesn't even look like that maybe she's related to, in any relations to Destro yet either, but she's kept in the jail as well, and you're like, whoa, what's going on here? But this book is absolutely awesome. This is an A. This is, A+. This is a top pick for me. I really like this comic book. And just seeing all the ins and outs of the, the G.I. Joe headquarters and just the character interactions, just everything about this book is just so much fun for me. I definitely say pick this up. And obviously for G.I. Joe fans, this enhances your experience so good. Batman Offworld, this is issue 3. This one is written by Jason Aaron. The artwork is done by Doug Meineke. The artwork in this book is phenomenal. I mean, it screams sci-fi fantasy. Like, look at that stuff, dude. This has got this cyber wolf in there. We got that Tamarian character. Her name is Ion, I think her name. I don't know if I pronounced it right. But she's trying to have, like, this relationship with Batman, and, like, Batman blows her off. He's like, "You're 5 more minutes so I can work on my suit." Seriously, Bruce, you got some serious problems right there if you're not hooking up with that hot chick. But and after that, she's like, whatever, you're dead to me, Bruce. It's so funny. But them going out on this mission to stop that alien sin is actually a lot of fun. We get to see him produce, like, a new armor, and they go out, and he just sits there and just takes it to him. He uses all his skills, all these moments that, when this creature beat him up in the past, to get to this very moment in time, and he just beats the crap out of this thing, and he doesn't feel like his mission is complete, and he has to go to the next step, which is going to the Black Sun Mining Company, which is the people above that sin creature, right? He feels like he has to take on that now. I mean, just such an awesome and well-drawn comic book with just great action. And I never thought I would like Batman in space, but this has been a great surprise. I think Jason Aaron has done a bang-up job. Another top pick for me. This is another A-plus book from me in a week that looked very abysmal and just depressing, winds up turning around 360 and has come up with some top-notch quality comic books. Check out Batman Offworld issue 3. You will not be disappointed. So there you have it, webheads. There are the books. There are my thoughts. I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Which ones you liked, which ones you disliked. Do you agree with my grades? Do you disagree? It's okay because we all have different opinions, and that's what's so great about this hobby. So speaking of worthy ones, like I talked about earlier, there it is. It's a monumental episode, as most of those comics there were not that great. But go ahead, click on it if you haven't seen it yet. And guys, as always, support those local comic shops. Keep buying, keep collecting, but always remember, read your comics. Guys, I'll see you real soon. Take care. Bye.